Welcome to Journal Entries. I'm Samantha Hawley, and I work with successful women in business and leadership who are making six figures and tired of their work stress bleeding into their home life. I specialize in the ripple effect, helping you regulate your nervous system so that you can be focused and fulfilled in your career and patient and present at home. If you're ready to leave work at work and choose presence over performance, you are in the right place. Hello. Welcome back to this week's journal entry. I was on a call a couple weeks ago now, and a light bulb went off for me as I was on it, as soon as this girl said it. And it's about a habit that a lot of women have, and it's that we wait until things get so emotionally overwhelming or heavy or overstimulating until we prioritize ourselves, and then we do something in a big way. And it feels like it's the right choice and really, I don't know, just good for us, like a really good decision. And I'm not saying that it's not, but I'm just using this episode as a way to bring this habit to awareness and then also help us work through it. And first, I just want to give a couple examples. So one CEO mom that I was on a call with, she was super stressed because her nanny is on maternity leave. And so she's managing a lot more with her kids right now. She is not implementing any buffer time between work mode and mom mode, even though she wants to. That's something that we were working through. She is working early in the morning and then all day until 3 p.m. And then she logs back in at like 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., I think she said. She's just so stressed and decision fatigued in all of her roles that she booked a retreat for herself, this like big week-long retreat. Another client is working on accessing more emotions. She just wants to feel more, both good and more challenging emotions as well. She wants to get to know her real self versus just her autopilot self, her mundane daily self. And guess what? She also just got back from a retreat. And then the woman that I was on a call with that I just referenced, she was the one who said, I'm overstimulated with everything that I want to do. I want to get caught up on content. I have a whole list of things that I want to do, like listening to podcast episodes. And then she went on with all the things that she wants to do, some work stuff, some personal stuff, some family stuff. And then she said, so I'm just going to not book any calls for my business next month, which to me is kind of a drastic thing. She's basically going to pause her business next month, which again, I'm not saying is a bad thing. I think that that might be really refreshing, but just connecting the dots between the consistency of what I'm hearing on the calls that I'm having, I realized that we go to these drastic measures like taking calls off for the full month and going on retreats instead of dealing with the actual overstimulation, like what's causing it externally, as well as the beliefs internally. And this is exactly what we excavate in my breakthrough intensives. I have a few spots for those in December. There's a link in the show notes for that. But I can relate to all of this. And I've done this in different ways. I've done the retreats. I've done plenty of retreats, in fact, but Tony Robbins was my favorite. And so I'm not bashing retreats. They can be so incredible for business and life. But I don't think that we should wait until we need a retreat. Like these women, and even the women that I saw at the retreats, and when I was booking these retreats, you're almost like desperate for this retreat. And I think that retreats should enhance our life and give us energy, not be a lifeline and revive us, right? Other examples, I've gotten so fed up with posting on Instagram that I've purchased multiple courses that promise to help me create content easily, or like plan tons of B-roll content that will make reels easier. And guess what? I paid for it. I downloaded it. I looked at it once instead of just putting in the time to create content authentically, or even better, trusting my intuition of investing more time in my newsletters and my podcasts than on social media. I've also felt so overstimulated that I've had a solid week or two where after I dropped Griffin off at daycare, I would come home and I would crumble on the couch. I have like an L-shaped sofa, and in the corner, I would just like grab my coziest blanket and pull it up over myself, turn on the TV, probably turn on like a reality TV, and just watch it for probably an hour or two. And then I would dive into work, but I would just call it self-care. And let's focus on that last one, the overstimulation, because it's that conversation that really prompted me to realize that these drastic measures clearly are not the solution. If anything, they highlight the difference of what we want and what our everyday life actually is, which brings me to my second thought. And then I'll share my tips on how to actually not feel overstimulated. But those things that we try to do to fix this feeling, my thought and question for you is, will you actually feel less overstimulated? Will you ever really be caught up? Realistically, one of the women on the calls, one of her examples was that she wants to listen to podcast episodes on her list. And that's what she's going to do in her time off that 1 month. But realistically, what happens after you listen to your list of podcast episodes? Maybe you have a list of products that the host recommended during an ad, and you have them saved in your notes app in your phone because they had a special code, but you wanted to think about if you really wanted to buy it or not. And now you want to circle back and see if you still want it. That literally happened to me when I was in airplane mode on a plane, and I finally had time to catch up on some podcast episodes. And these podcasters had special codes for like 40% off. I remember one, it was coffee. That has like some great coffee, like chaga. Anyways, she had a 40% off code. So I saved the code because A, I couldn't purchase it on the plane. And B, I was like, let me think about this decision. So we think that we're going to breeze through all these podcasts, but we actually have another to-do list built on the side, or maybe a new podcast popped up after one of your episodes or in your search, and now you want to listen to that one. So it just keeps growing. Or what happens when you get caught up on creating your content, or even innocently catching up on your family and friends' content if you've been knee deep in work that you don't really know what's going on with them. Maybe you got inspired to create a trending post or reel that you saw, or to be the Joneses and plan a trip, or renovate your home, start a new hobby, something like that. And now you have a new task of researching how to do that thing, or the best products, or get that audio on the reel, all the things to implement. None of those things are bad. I think new hobbies are great. I think trending audios are fun. I'm just pointing out that most times your list doesn't stop when your original list stops. It just keeps growing, especially for growth-minded women. What we think will rejuvenate us, like those retreats or the week or month-long rests that we call self-care, it actually delays the inevitable because we haven't dealt with what's driving the overstimulation in the first place. We're just kind of putting a Band-Aid on it with external solutions. The episode that's airing in just 2 days is going to give you the strategic journal prompts to work through the overstimulation. Journaling is, in fact, my main methodology of how I break through. So follow this podcast if you don't already, so that you can be notified and do what I think is like the real work. But here are 3 tips on how to actually not feel overstimulated now without journaling. So the first, be present and in the moment wherever you are. When I was writing that down in my outline for this episode, I almost didn't write it because it feels cliche, but I almost have been feeling this like sense of shame when I say be present, because we are exhausted. And when we're exhausted and overstimulated, sometimes we think that all we want to do is leave our kids or leave our job and just hide under our covers, or binge a reality show with no responsibilities, or just zone out. And tips like stay present feels like one more thing to do. It feels like coming back into the present is like, ugh, I can't even zone out like I had wanted to. And as a single mom with no support on hand to tap off to at home, I get it more than anyone. Like I'm always on either at work or as a mom. And I tested this out in the moment recently because I had thought, be present. And I was just zoning out because I had had a day, one of those days. And then I became aware of where I was and what my son was doing. And he was lying in front of me playing with a toy or something on our messy floor. And I physically remember like going from, when you're zoning out and like your eyes are glossed over almost, then you come back into your body. And I felt like I could actually feel my nervous system calm down. It didn't feel like one more thing. It didn't feel like I shamed myself into it. It felt like a relief. And so if you've rolled your eyes at the advice of be present before, or if you felt like, but now it's one more thing that I need to do, that I need to try, I encourage you to try it in spite of it, maybe, so that you can see for yourself, maybe, just maybe, it will feel like a relief. Tip number 2 is to take deep breaths. And when you do, try to hear your breath and involve your senses in whatever it is that you're doing. So you're breathing. I just said, try to hear it. Maybe try to feel the temperature of your breath. This sort of intentionality grounds you and it regulates your nervous system, even if your to-do list doesn't change. And then tip number 3, reevaluate your actions and ask why you're doing them. So is what you're doing truly a priority, or is it just a habit or something that you've always done? And you can do this at work and personally for everything. Like maybe when you wake up in the morning, the first thing that you do is check your emails. Are you doing it because it's actually important for your job, which it very well might be, or it's just habit, or it could be something at work. So many examples. But another question, do you really need to be the one to do that? Or can you delegate it to somebody at work or to your partner or even to your kids? Do you need to be the one to line up all the shoes when your kids toss their shoes off all around the house when they get home from school? Or can you start to give them the responsibility to put their shoes where you want them? Even ask, of the things that you want to be doing, why are you not doing them? Or what is holding you back from it? And these will feel like very legitimate reasons. So truly, what is holding you back? Do you not have the support? Do you not have the time? In fact, one of my clients that I mentioned earlier, we started off our session and she said that her problem that she wanted to focus on was that she wanted to prioritize herself more. She was very well aware that she was on the bottom of her to-do list, the bottom of her priority list. But by the end of our call, she realized that she wasn't actually not prioritizing herself because of all the reasons that she thought she was. She realized that she is decision fatigued, and that's where we need to focus, not on what to do to put herself back on her list, but rather all the decisions that she has and the beliefs and expectations around control and support and how she wants to live her life. Again, that is the type of deep work we do on my calls. It's not just tangible, do this every single day, 5 minutes of intentional prioritization on yourself. No, we dig into the control, the support, the belief, the expectations, all of this stuff. And all that, by the way, was just one 90-minute call. If you are interested in that type of work, you can schedule your breakthrough intensive in the show notes. I only schedule 3 each month because they take so much time to prep and presence to get this deep. And you'll walk away, you'll come out on the other side of this call with so much clarity that you can't unsee and direction to achieve what you want. And that's been very important for me is I never want a client or myself to have this clarity and then feel so great and like, that was a relief, but then do nothing about it. I always want to end with direction and action so that you get what you want and you feel what you want and you create what you want. And the reason why you are able to do that is because your biggest roadblock won't be in your way anymore because of this deep, I keep saying excavation, but that's what it feels like it is that we do. So anyways, link for that in the show notes. And again, come back on Thursday for the journal prompts to be less overstimulated. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me for today's journal entry. If something resonated with you, I'd love to know about it. Screenshot this episode, share it on social media, and tag me at samantha.s.says. Or even leave a review, which will help more women find this podcast to create more fulfillment in their career and as a mom. And hey, if you're thinking, I wish I could get more of this, I've got you covered. Click on the link in the show notes, which I customize each week based on what we're talking about. And I always include the link to the Calm Mind Blueprint, which are my 5 journal prompts to go from overwhelm to inner peace in 2 to 10 minutes a day. Subscribe so that you catch my Thursday 5-minute journal with me episodes and next week's full episode where we will continue this journey together. I'll see you then.